Welcome. My guest this episode is Jericho Diputado, a solo developer working under the name of Zap Games. Jericho has been in the NT for 12 years, and during that time has become an incredibly consistent and enthusiastic participant in the game jams that are run out of the NT Game Designers Group. He is prolific in genres as well as entries. He's made action platformers, driving sims, beekeeping simulators, reaction clickers, puzzle games, and more. So his portfolio on itch is looking extremely sweet. But today, rather than Game Jam Games, we are going to be talking about the project that will keep him going in 2025. His main project that is going to be going throughout the whole of this year, and it's the one that we're going to be checking in quarterly throughout 2025. So join us as we talk through Jericho's game. Okay, so let's get started. So the guest here today is Jericho. He works under the name of Zap Games, double A double P, by the way. So ZAA double P if you want to look it up on itch.io. You've heard my intro of you, Jericho. Is there anything more you want to add? Is there anything like what you've I don't know. How do you see yourself in the NT game designers community?
Well, yeah, I think that's pretty much sums up my what I've been doing for the last like 2.5 years now.
Yeah.
Just been like participating in game jams, just doing a lot of like game development learning the past few years. But now that I've kind of like have a bit of like grasp of things, I wanted to like create a more longer project, like at least more than 1 month now. And yeah, so for this project I'm doing this year is gonna be my biggest at the moment, at least.
Yeah, because I guess having done so many game jams, I mentioned in the intro, like you are prolific and you are reliable. whenever
No.
we're making up like the numbers of like, oh, how many people do we think we're actually going to get doing this game jam? It's like we can always count on Jericho because he's always made games in these things. So how's it been? I guess to get underway, like how's it been changing your mindset from game jam games, which, as you say, you work on for maybe, 2 weeks to a month, changing that mindset from a game jam game to a more long-term game. Has there been any change that you've had to make in how you approach it?
Definitely, it's gonna be like more in the structuring, I would say. Like
Mm-hmm.
for a game jam game, you're basically just going in, just doing everything as you go,
Mm-hmm.
and you don't really have to like structure things too much. You just like if it works, then it's good. I mean,
Ship
it's a
it,
good
yeah.
like mantra to just ship it exactly. It's a that's still a good mantra if even if you're making a longer game, because especially if you don't have much resources. But you definitely have to plan a little bit more, structure a little bit more, organize a bit more. And that's kind of been what I've been doing for the past few weeks, actually, just preparing for this project. And yeah, there's just definitely a lot more planning, a lot more like going on the board, or like virtual boards now. And yeah, no, it's certainly different, and I don't really know what to expect yet, because I haven't really made a longer game. But so far it's going all right.
Oh, that's good. What kind of, I guess, for people that are looking to make use of these kind of tools, like the project management tools and all that kind of stuff, like what's your weapon of choice with regards to like the planning?
Yeah, so it's actually been like I usually start off with OneNote. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's Microsoft OneNote, and I also use Notion for to-do list task management.
Yep.
But I actually been playing around with Obsidian at the moment. It's kind of like a OneNote alternative, but you can also do like you can also put Kanban boards into it, like one in Notion. So it's kind of like OneNote and Notion combined together. So I actually kind of like it a lot compared to what I was using before.
Yeah, I've heard of it. It seemed, from what I can understand, it seemed a little bit more complicated to set up, but then once you kind of got into it, it was better.
It's actually quite I think it's quite similar to what's that code, visual code, yeah.
Oh, okay,
Oh
sure.
no, is it Visual Code? Yeah. So it has like it's closed source, but it has a lot of community plugins, and that what makes it like really really good.
Ah, okay.
You can like really extend it. The vanilla version is already good. It has like this kind of visualization of like you can like connect your documents, your notes together,
Mm-hmm.
and make your own wiki.
Oh,
But
cool.
it but you can also visualize it with this node kind of like node system, like with like a tree with links. But then the community plugins you can add like a Kanban board. You can add like I think there's like like a Miro node kind of like a mind map
Yep.
plugin as well. So that's really cool. So like I was like I've been playing around it for the last few weeks, and I think I'm moving to it, and it's also free. So it's like
Yeah, that's very
at
compelling. Yeah.
least the yeah, exactly. It's and I kind of like kind of wanted to get away a little bit from Microsoft stuff or Microsoft software.
Oh, yeah.
Trying
Understandable. Yeah.
different things for now. Someday I'm gonna be switching to Linux, I swear.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty close to that.
That's for
if
for
they
my OS.
yeah, if they force me to go to Windows 11, then I think I'm just gonna have to move to like Linux Mint or
Oh,
something like that. I'm not looking forward to that.
yeah, that's what I'm like thinking as well. So
Mm.
I'm gonna probably trial run that with some of my older computers and see how it feels. But from what I've seen, it looks really nice, and I think it's very it's been a lot of work has been done onto it,
Mm.
so it's much more easier to transition than before.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Back when I was in uni, which is a long time ago now, but yeah, I was using Ubuntu Linux, which is still a pretty good choice, I think.
oh
But
yeah,
I think Mint has really taken over in terms of like an easy one, especially for gamers and game developers. I think it's got a lot of the stuff that we need
yeah.
to use. But enough of planning. I haven't actually asked you. So the project that you are going to do in 2025. So we actually spoke before we started the interview, and I thought you were doing one thing, but you've zigged and you've zagged, and now you've started. You're going to be starting something that I don't know about. So I'm as interested in hearing about this as our listeners, I'm sure, will be. So I know it's very early, and I know you may not have like an actual elevator pitch for the game, but could you just talk us through what kind of genre you're looking at, what kind of like what is the game that you're going to be trying to get some progress on in 2025?
Yeah, I actually do have like a draft elevator pitch, so
Yeah, well,
I'm
shoot,
probably just gonna
go ahead.
start with that. Yeah. So basically, it's the name of the game is at least the current name is it's called Mandrake Merchant.
Mm-hmm.
It's a management game. It's a management and farming simulator where you grow and sell elemental mandrake plants on your own shop. So this game was actually the entry that I put in for the last game jam
Yes,
last December.
yes, I remember it. I
And
did play it.
yeah. Oh, nice. Thank you. But yeah, it's I really like the kind of like the concept of it, and I kind of like using like some kind of unique creature like a mandrake,
Mm.
so magical weird thing, I suppose.
Magical, weird,
But yeah, I thought
screaming plants. Yeah.
yeah, for the most part. But I'm planning to like change it like a little bit, gonna add some elements onto them, and at least at the moment that's the plan. And it's kind of funny because the inspiration of the game actually came from a different game, a completely different game.
Right.
So I don't know if you know the Yakuza series.
Yes. Yeah. I'm very familiar with the Yakuza series.
Sweet.
Well, like a dragon
Nice.
now. They've renamed it, I guess. So.
That's exactly where it came from. Basically, I've played that like few months ago, and before the game jam started, and one of the it's basically a game with a lot of mini games on it,
Yeah.
and one of the mini games in there is like I really enjoyed. It's the business simulator mini game.
Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. I spent so long in that thing.
Me too, man.
It's so good.
It's so great. I was like, I was so inspired, and so I was like, oh, we need to make a mini game for this game jam. So I thought maybe I should like recreate that in like a smaller scale, So I kind of thought of something simple. I don't know how I end up with mandrakes, honestly, um, but I went with that, and I kind of like added like those projections, like expected profit and stuff like that,
Yes. Yeah.
and ended up with that game jam. But now I when I was like planning or brainstorming for ideas to expand it, it's becoming more of like a first person kind of like a dungeon crawler control scheme, when you like you move by in a grid,
Yeah. Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
can like that kind of control scheme, and it's pretty much still point and click for the most part. So I thought that's gonna be a good combination. So I'm trying that out now, and I'm gonna be adding kind of like a farming simulator where you combine like soil and seeds, put it on different pots, and the elemental stuff is where it comes from. It's like you can combine different elemental mandrakes. So say you got like a fire and air, you
Mm-hmm.
can get like an electric mandrake, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of playing around with that idea, and then after that you can like you can sell your mandrakes, and you get like when you open your shop, you get customers coming in, and you can decide if you want to sell or not. So it's very similar to like the game Moonlighter.
Ah, yes, I do know Moonlighter. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like the inspiration for the shop mechanic
Yep.
for the game, at least at the moment. And but it's gonna be like in first person, so you can just click on like customers to like try to decide on what action you would like to take. So but yeah, it's very early and still like brainstorming some ideas, but at the moment that's kind of like the core of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
um
And is
and
the
yeah
idea so? This is one thing that I like to do, or that I'm trying to do in these interviews, is like press you a little bit on mechanics and that kind of stuff. So
yep.
having a Mandrake shop, managing customers, is the management of customers meant to be like a difficulty thing? You know how you have some of those games that are like quite like frantic, where you're running around and trying to satisfy customers, or are they just kind of there as ways in which to sell the kind of the mechanic, or sell and like get some reward from the main mechanic?
So it's kind of like there's gonna be a timer for sure.
Mm-hmm.
So when you open a shop, the timer will kick off,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be like customers will come into the shop, right? And they will like the AI will decide if they want to like pick a mandrake and buy it, and they probably just raise their hands or something like that, and you
Mm-hmm.
have to click on them and decide if you want to actually sell the mandrake to them, or I have like ideas to like you can kick them out if you want. You can like discount, you can inflate your price or
Yep.
whatever. You can do a bit of bargaining.
Yep.
But it is kind of like time based when you're opening your shop. But if you when the shop is closed, you basically have there's basically no time, so
Yeah.
you can like end your phase or something like that, giving you time to like to combine your combine to do different combinations of mandrakes
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
your like greenhouse. So
Yeah,
I
so
guess it's
in
kind of
that in
like a
those times,
mix.
it's a bit of a cozy game kind of thing. Like you're tending to your
Yes,
plants,
exactly.
you're making sure that you're getting the right nutrients to them or whatever. Bit of a
Yep,
like very chill kind of farm management game kind of thing, but in first person, which is pretty different.
exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of like instead of like a free movement, where it's gonna be like a kind of the old school dungeon crawler
Yeah, yeah,
perspective, and that just so that I you can still click on stuff instead of like clicking a button to like go to like click mode, and it's just like I thought it just might make it more immersive.
yeah.
But yeah, I haven't really got the feels yet. So just testing that out now, and like getting the systems up and running, at least the basic ones.
Yeah,
So yeah, see how it goes.
that makes sense. Have you thought about art style? Because I know you have like in your all your game jam games, you've kind of developed kind of a pretty cool looking, I guess, like hand drawn kind of style. I assume you do all your art for your game jams. I'm assuming this, uh, but like there's
Most
kind
of
of
the
a
time, yeah.
yeah, it's kind of a cool like hand drawn, like quite thick lines, that kind of stuff. Like what kind of art style are you
Yeah.
looking for this one?
That actually was like I was like playing around with that a few weeks ago, and um, it's gonna be a combination of 3D and 2D.
Hmm.
So I do a lot of like my art in like the art that I do is like through vector.
Hmm.
I do sketch them first and then I vectorize them with like with vector lines. It just makes it easier to change them and scale them up or down.
Yeah.
For this one though, I've been kind of like experimenting with like manually texturing my 3D environments. So the
Ah,
idea
nice.
is like the structures and like some of the props are gonna be in 3D, but they're gonna be really boxy, like Minecraft boxy.
Yeah.
I don't know if you heard the game Toem, Poem.
Ah, no, actually,
It's
I
kind of
haven't.
like
No.
yeah. So but yeah, it's kind of like Minecraft, very boxy props or structures, but
Mm.
I manually textured them with using vector lines, and sometimes like I hand draw them. Um, it's kind of hard to explain because most of the time, if from what I see on games now, like one popular one that's used today is like they make 3D objects but they pixel art them, the
Ah, yeah, like
textures.
with with like crocodile and all that kind of stuff. It's
Yeah, I think I've seen that. Yeah, something
yeah,
like that. Yeah,
yeah, it's like 2D textures over a 3D structure, like over a mesh.
yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
pretty much like that, but instead of pixel art, I'm putting in like just some vector, or it's pretty much raster anyway as well.
yeah. Mm.
It's just like very you need a higher quality texture, so a bit more space, but I'm kind of putting them in an atlas to save some space and like performance.
Yeah,
Hopefully, see how it
yeah.
goes in that.
And would that include like are you going to stylize stuff like shadows and stuff like that? Would you have like kind of baked in shadows, I guess, with the art, or are you going to try and do shadows and stuff out so like just as normal kind of thing?
I think I think I'm gonna be combining it or mixing it.
Yeah,
It's gonna be real time shadows,
yeah,
but at least for the ambient occlusions or like the crevices and stuff like that, I'll probably just manually shadow that.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like drop shadows and stuff like that, I'll probably use like the real time lighting system. Godot. I
Yeah.
haven't really played around with it, but see how it goes.
Before we dip into the question of engine and plugins and all that kind of stuff. So are you gonna
Uh,
be so with the obviously so hand painted textures on a 3D world? Are you then gonna have like billboarding of stuff like the mandrakes themselves? Are they gonna be 3D or are you gonna go like billboarded sprites?
it's likely going to be billboard.
Yeah.
Most of the what I'm planning for the characters actually is like they're going to be just be flat 2D.
Yep.
And they're gonna be billboards and the customers, because when you open a shop, you will not be able to like rotate the camera too much, so
Yeah.
billboarding is probably not gonna be needed. It's gonna be like a front view, so should be fine. But at least for the mandrakes, when they're in their pots, I'll probably billboard them so that they can constantly look at you when you move around, so it doesn't become weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I want to see how it looks like in actuality first before I commit to something like that.
Yeah, and that's where like just doing like a little. When I was speaking to Dan, who's one of the other interviewees in this series, he was actually talking about one thing that he's going to try is to have kind of two separate projects. Like he'll have a project where he's doing
Oh,
like
yep.
grey boxing and just getting mechanics down, and then he has a project where he's actually mucking around with art styles and seeing how that looks on different things. And he's trying that out this time. It's the first time he's tried this way of doing it, which is actually just to have completely separate projects, just so you open up that one if you want to work on the art, and you open up that one if you want to work on the mechanics. So that might be
That's
one thing
actually
to
quite great.
might be something to try out.
Yeah,
So
I
engine
might
wise,
actually try that out.
yeah, it's a good idea. So you said the magical word, which is Godot, which we do love
Oh,
Godot.
yeah.
I guess what made you choose that one, especially for a game that's 3D? Because I know Godot is very good for 2D, very very good for 2D, but 3D it's still
Yep.
kind of catching up with Unity. So what made you choose it? Kind of despite that.
I think the main reason is like it's open source.
Mm.
Probably that's the main reason. It's and the other one is like how lightweight it is. How like it's so easy to just like you open it up and just like you don't have to wait. Just like close your project in like a few seconds. And I also like that. I also like the workflow in it. I don't know. It's like when use it the first time, it kind of just makes sense to me. The node system. Um, and since then I've kind of like stuck with it, and I've been learning too much. Not much. I've just been learning a lot. I
No,
still
no,
have a lot to learn though.
yeah. I mean, it's there is a lot to learn with regards to Godot. I mean,
Exactly.
it's got a lot of functionality in there. So, do you
Oh man.
are you a purist? Do you use the inbuilt IDE, or do you use like a writer or a Visual Studio Code or something like that to actually code in it?
So yeah, I'm using the inbuilt GDescript. So
Yes,
I think it's
yes.
just much more easier. Yeah, it's just like much more convenient because it's all there, and I like
Mm,
things like to be in one place as much as possible. You can't like avoid to like it's good to also have separate things, and you can't really avoid that. Just tools, some tools are just better than others
mm.
in some depending on the use case of depending on how you use it, of course. But yeah, nah, it's the built-in GDescript is good enough for me. I don't really have much background in like actual programming. Python was the main one I used before starting game dev, so it actually worked well. I mean, GDescript actually just clicked well to me because it's quite similar to Python. So
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, it's definitely based on it, I think, or they've used that as the kind of archetype to follow. Yeah,
yeah, some kind of yeah. So it's very very similar syntax with the indentation and stuff like that.
yeah, yeah. And so I guess talking about other tools, so you're using Godot as the game engine. What other kind of tooling do you have, like for drawing? For you've already talked about using Obsidian for your kind of planning and tracking. What do you
Yep.
use to do like your art?
Yeah. So for the art stuff, I of course for the 3D stuff, I'm using Blender.
Yep.
For the 2D stuff though, I'm using the Affinity suite. So
Ah,
I
nice.
use Affinity Designer for the vector stuff, and Affinity Photo for raster. And I'm also planning to use Spine 2D for 2D animation,
Oh, yep,
but
nice.
I haven't really gotten that far yet. Um, it's I've used it before and I really liked it because it's quite simple, and it has like a graph editor like in Blender for doing animation.
Yeah.
But yeah, nah, that's it. Also kind of integrates well with Affinity and Godot. So yeah,
Yeah, I think the Spine guys have actually built like a. I think they've actually built a Godot, or they update a Godot
runtime.
executable runtime. Yeah, with Spine integration. So that can be
Yep.
really useful because I think you can be editing in Spine and it updates like instantly going
Oh,
into
okay.
Godot, which
Yeah,
is
I haven't
pretty
looked
cool.
into that.
Yeah. I know we were looking at using that. Or I'm pretty sure we have a license for Spine 2D. So if you need to try it out,
Yeah, I have the
yeah.
basic license for it, but I haven't like
Yeah.
committed to the professional one yet.
Yeah, yeah. Well, if you wanna try out the professional one, we can organize a catch up. I will sit next to you
Ah,
while you use it. So it's definitely not. I'm definitely not giving you the software for free.
the
Just to
license.
put that out there.
No illegal
Uh,
stuff here.
no illegal stuff here. NT game devs are squeaky clean. Um,
Legit. Yeah.
we are legit. We are legit. So I guess so. What's your timeline? Like, what are you? So we're going to be checking in every quarter. So what are you kind of aiming for? Say in the next 3 months, and say like the next 6 months or so.
Yes, so that's actually one of the main reasons I pivoted to this game, because I am pretty certain I can finish it this year.
Mhm.
Um, Mid year is my like around July is my optimistic um
That's
estimate, but
yeah.
it could be moved, but
Yep.
at the moment my next plan is to like get a Steam page up and running with a
Mhm.
basic trailer showing the core gameplay loop. So I'm hoping I can do that by Feb. Honestly, like
Wow.
the systems are pretty much like shouldn't be too bad once I set it up, and content wise probably gonna be the ones that gonna take a lot of time, like doing the art and like making more, say, more mandrake types and stuff like that.
Mm.
But yeah, hoping for February Steam page release, and then maybe March, April, or May for the demo, and then
Yeah.
by July, August, or September is gonna be the actual release. So yeah,
Yeah.
see how
Wow.
it goes.
Yeah. That's a tight schedule. That's good. I
Yeah,
mean, I've
it
seen
is.
what you can do in a month in our game jam. So like, I'm actually sitting here going, well, yeah, that's not unachievable for you. I think that's perfectly. If the systems are as simple as you're describing, then yeah, probably you are right. The content and getting all the art stuff done and getting the environments done, maybe layering over some post processing effects and that kind of stuff. That'll probably
Yeah,
be the thing that takes the longest. Getting kind of the visual
polishing stage.
style. Yeah. What actually now,
Yes.
now that I'm thinking about it, so what's the I guess what's the win condition for this? Is it you are is it an Animal Crossing style thing where you're just trying to pay off some large debt or something like that? Is there going to be much of a story? Like, are you going for a narrative in the game, or is it more just you're raising these mandrakes, you're selling them, which allows you to buy more mandrakes and sell them, kind of thing? Like, is there going to be a win condition? And if there is it going to be narratively driven, or is it just going to be mechanically driven?
Yes, good. Really good question. So basically, um, it's not gonna be narratively driven. There's pretty much no story in the game.
Mm-hmm.
But there's gonna be characters. So it is using the trope of like you have a debt, then you have to pay it. Some kind of unfortunate thing that happened, and now you need money to fix that. So you make something,
Yep.
and that something is like growing and selling mandrakes. And yeah, there's gonna be character interactions, and probably gonna be doing not too much on that as well. But it's basically a lot of like systems. Just
Yep.
we're basically just gonna be growing mandrakes, selling them, trying to reach your goal, the money, and while you're doing that, there's gonna be like some characters that can interact with you, then that you can build some, not really building relationship, just gonna be no like it's not gonna be like dating sim with like different relationship bars. Not That's gonna be too much for me now, but just gonna be like some very casual exchange of words. and
Yeah. Okay.
um and yeah, I do also plan to add some kind of like global leaderboard, like start the game, see how much money you can make in in a period of time with some conditions. But
Oh yeah.
that's gonna
Yep.
be like an end game thing. If it becomes, if I get like interest in it. But at the moment it's just gonna be like a straight up grow, sell mandrakes, get money,
Yep.
and reach your goal. And yeah, you can.
Yeah.
And
Just
then
enjoy
yeah,
the chill vibes.
exactly, yep.
Yeah, because I can totally imagine that you could if you kind of got the systems in there and were happy with the systems kind of early on, then not that I'm encouraging you to like scope creep, but
Yeah.
but I think what you're talking about with regards to like developing relationships with specific customers, like you could have like your normal kind of NPCs, like the ones that you kind of just come in and buy things and bugger off. But you could definitely have like special NPCs where selling them a specific combination of mandrakes like unlocks some story or does something like that. Could be something that people are interested in striving for, I guess, and gives it
That
more of a personality. So you could do like that. That might be like something you could think
some kind
about.
of mini quest. That I like that. I'm writing that
again,
down.
again, I am not encouraging scope creep. I know that scope creep is the devil.
Yeah, definitely.
But
It is.
I think with those system-based games, like even having some small amount of story can really really help. Because
Yep.
a system is, as we've seen with games like Balatro recently, you can have just a game that is just systems and numbers going up, and people will absolutely love it. It's certainly not,
Oh yeah.
it's not a requirement to have a story, but it can certainly help sometimes, I think.
Yeah, definitely. That's also like one of the things, like, when as a gamer, system-based games are great, but I do like to read a bit of lore, the
Mm.
world, and and if there's characters in the game, like especially with RPG games, that's when I get like really hooked into a game. So
Mm.
I kind of want to like do that, but in like in a non-scope creepy way,
Yeah.
because that can really improve. That can really like expand your scope too much. So yeah, I'll see how it goes anyway. But definitely adding a little bit of story and like characters in the game too. You know, as I think it's just good. You're right.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it can really help, especially with those smaller, like we are necessarily making smaller games. So yeah, giving that little bit of extra personality to it can be pretty cool. I did want to ask,
Exactly. Yeah.
so what do you want to avoid doing? Like, because I know we talk about a lot of like, what do you want to achieve with the game, all that kind of stuff. Is there anything
Mm-hmm.
that you like don't want to do? And I know like scope creep is an obvious one, but like, is there anything?
Anything else? Okay. Marketing, definitely.
Yeah,
Promotion.
yeah, okay, yeah. It's
I
a
have no
necessary evil.
experience in that.
Yeah.
um, what
Yeah,
else?
I saw a good video the other day, which has been going around. I can't remember the guy's name. It's this uh, Nordic dude that talks about like the best marketing is just to make a good game, because the Steam marketplace and the
Is that
Steam economy will essentially tell you whether or not it's good or not.
that's Jonas Tyroller, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's that Jonas guy. Yeah, it's a really good video,
Yeah.
and he's got a good point. I think it's a little bit
Yeah.
naive, because I think you do still need to like be lucky enough that the initial 100 or 200 people actually
Yeah.
like your game. But yeah, he's got a
Definitely.
point.
There's
Just
definitely
making good games.
it does.
Okay, well, so all right, so we've established you're making a farming systems based farming and growing and selling shopkeeper kind of game with
Yes.
2D elements in a 3D world that'll be basically hand textured with your very cool
Yep.
style. Um, yeah, like what else? What else is there to add to that? Have you got any? I don't know any. Oh, actually, that's one thing I've been asking people. Is there any specific plugins for Godot that you find
Ooh,
to be absolutely essential?
a lot,
So
man.
yeah.
I haven't even like gotten everything, but I'm already using like 6, 7 plugins at the moment.
Oh wow. Okay. Yeah. Name them, because this is one thing that we want to do
Yes.
in this podcast, is actually share some good stuff with people. So I'll open up a notepad and I'll start typing so that we can put
Yeah.
these in
I
the show
love when
notes.
my yeah. No, I got a few in here. It's growing. But the the ones that I started with is like basically a lot of editor add-ons plugins to just
Sure.
kind of help out with Godot. So there's one here where you can preview the camera just by clicking
Ah
on a
yes.
camera node.
Yep.
That's camera preview, I think.
Yep.
What it's called. That's great. The next one is like it's called embed game.
Embed
It
game.
basically allows, yeah, so it's not it's an itch, so it's kind of like it's not on the asset library, but what it does is like when you run the game, instead of like having a separate window, the it actually goes to your editor window.
Ah
It
yeah yeah
doesn't
yeah.
like create a separate window, so it's good if you don't have much screen or not much of monitor, if you're working your laptop or something.
Sure.
Gives you a bit of space. So that's one. The next one is To Do Manager. Probably used that
Yes.
before.
Yep. I know that one. Yep.
That's a great one to just like add some things for your code. And there's also this one called runtime debug tools. That one allows you to like while at runtime, it allows you to basically select your game, select your editor, and allows you to like select objects while the game is running and change stuff. So something similar
Right.
to Unity. Yeah,
Yeah,
but
that's one thing that people complain, or not complain about. That's one thing people that note that Godot
request,
doesn't
yeah.
natively have is the ability to actually easily change stuff in at
Yeah,
runtime. Yeah, you can,
there's a
but it's just
plugin for
harder.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good. I'm gonna
Um,
use some of these. I haven't heard some of these, so this is great.
so there's the next one is state charts, Godot state charts.
Ah, yes,
So it's
yes.
basically a state machine, but it allows you to do parallel states, which is like
Yep.
useful for instances. Actually useful for my game. I've used it. I've used it on one of my systems, so it's great.
And that's
I
that's
also
actually
have
made
the
that's made by the guy that runs the Godoniers.
Godot, yeah, YouTube channel, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually have another plugin that he made that I use that I will be using. I haven't like used it yet. I just recently watched a video of him explaining it. Maybe you've seen it. It's called
Hmm.
Guide Input System. It's basically
No.
a better version of the Windows input system. It allows you to like create separate like control schemes. It's much more easier to like switch between, say you're doing a first person mode to like a build mode or something like that.
Oh, that's
But
really cool.
but yeah, he has a full video about it. Just a tutorial of how it works, and really recommend that. It's really cool.
Yeah, he's an
Um,
extremely good tutorial maker
yeah,
and like resource maker. He's an incredibly I don't know what his background is, but like they're the kind of people that you need to keep in Godot
yeah.
because
They
wow,
seem to be like an engine programmer or something like that.
yeah.
He's really good. Oh, I got another one as well. One that's called Phantom Camera. I think that's pretty popular. That
Yeah, that
allows
one's
you to
really good.
easily like between your cameras. And for my game, it will be really helpful.
Yeah, I
And the
think that's
last
an
one,
interesting one that like a lot of people don't
yep.
necessarily focus on. Like one of the things I've been doing recently is playing through like a bunch of small games that I've kind of never gotten around to, and one of them is a short hike.
Oh,
And a
yep.
short hike they use obviously it's made in Unity, but they use Cinemachine, which is very similar to the kind of stuff the Phantom Camera can
Yes.
do. And just the fact that it does have kind of a mixture of um, static or like following the player camera and also kind of set camera shots, it makes such a
Yep.
difference, and you just don't
It
actually
does.
see
Yeah.
it that often in games now, or like nowadays. I don't know what it is, but you used to see it a lot in
Oh,
games
yeah.
like
That's true.
Resident Evil and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I really think that especially in I'm imagining in your game, you would have like kind of a bunch of different cameras that can be swapped to as you're moving, into like the seedling area and then back into the shop, and
Yep.
they can still follow the player, but they're not necessarily over the shoulder and kind of in that mode, and it could really add some personality to the game.
Yeah. It makes it like a bit more cinematic in a way. I think
Mm. Yeah,
maybe
definitely.
that's why they got Cinemachine or something.
Yeah, well, that's probably where the name
um,
comes from. But yeah.
yeah. This is the last one. Last add-on. It's like the shaker add-on that's like
Oh yeah.
allows you to just like easily you like move objects and stuff. I've used it a bit on my last game, Jam game, and yeah, it's very quick. I didn't have to like animate anything. Just modified some curves and that's it.
Perfect.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Oh, I also use this add-on called Quiver. It's an easy way to add leaderboards to your game,
Ah, yes, yes, yes,
and
yes. I remember that.
that's pretty cool. It's free as well, so up to a certain amount, but it works really well, and yeah, that's pretty much it for my
Yeah,
add-ons. Do you have
that's a
do you have anything?
No, I mean, the the add-ons that you've spoken about, like most of those I've at least heard of. I think the ones that I mainly use are state charts, Phantom Camera, and the To Do Manager. I haven't actually used any of the other ones that you're talking about, so I'm gonna go away and use some of those. They sound really cool. Um, well, we're getting around about the half an hour to 40-minute mark on the podcast, which is roughly
Oh
where
wow.
we're gonna wrap it up. But last question. So for this project, you are going to be solo. Do you think that you'll bring in anybody to do stuff like music or supplementary maybe like Steam page art or head like hero images, that kind of stuff, or do you want to do it all solo?
I am actually thinking of like bringing in at least like to help with the Steam capsule.
Hmm.
Um and also maybe for the music, at least for the for like mixing and mastering and all those stuff, and maybe some composition stuff. But it's at the moment I plan to do it solo. I suppose if I get more resources, maybe if I get if I get more time as well, and it depends, I would say. But
Yeah.
at the moment, I'm just thinking of doing it solo, and like if it garnered enough interest, then I would likely bring someone in to like improve the quality of the assets and maybe the code and stuff like that. But yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. And yeah, there's a bunch of funding going around Australia at the moment. So yeah, you here's fingers crossed you get a slice of that pie
Yeah,
at some
fingers
point.
crossed.
Yeah,
We'll see that. And that's definitely, if I do get that funding, then I'll likely bring in I likely like to bring in, but just like ask some professionals to help me with like increasing the quality of the game, basically.
yeah. Yeah, and of course you have the NT game designers community to run QA, voluntary QA force that
Yes.
we have up here. Everyone is very
QA is
good
always
at,
important.
yeah, that's it. Cool. Well, yeah. Thank you so much for joining us today, Jericho. We will
Thank
definitely
you.
be looking forward to the 3 month check in. So that'll be happening around about let's say April for now. But yeah,
Yep.
thanks again so much, and all the best with your mandrake based farming casual shopkeeper sim. Sounds awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.